Let's bring in NBC's Tom Brokaw. Tom, I think everyone would agree, especially you, who's seen so many of these, that it plays such a part. Here we have the most spectacular weather up in New Hampshire today. As Barack Obama said the other day, it's balmy out there. It's the tropics for January. It seems to me if I were the Clintons, I'd say, damn it, one more problem we got to face. Everybody's coming.
Well, I think in this case, New Hampshire, everybody would come whether the weather was inclement or balmy, as you describe it. I felt that way in Iowa last week. The whole nation and the whole world is looking in on New Hampshire. They take their civic responsibility very seriously, as you know. It would be hard to imagine that in this kind of a spirited campaign, they'd say, well, there's a little more ice on the sidewalk, dear. I don't think I'm going to go out tonight. I think that they know everyone's looking in. They feel passionately about the issues and the candidates that are before them. And it is New Hampshire, after all, Chris, where summer comes around the 1st of July and winter begins around the 1st of August.
Well, I want to ask you further about the alignment of the stars. If you look at, I guess I've never seen so much crowds, so many exciting crowds. I mean, I was at the Obama events, and I can say what everybody else has seen and heard and felt there. They are electric. I saw Hillary Clinton last night in a very plaintive appeal to her troops, many of them brought in from outside, but a lot from New Hampshire. A huge room last night. A lot of almost old-time politics. It was almost people going around with torches, you know, in the old kind of politicking. A lot of in-your-face, but also a lot of show business.
Well, Chris, it's no longer just a bandwagon. We have an entire three-ring circus going here, and it's not just the politics of New Hampshire, it's also all of this. We're not the only channel on the air, I'm sorry to say. There are a lot of others, and they're going 24/7 on this race between Hillary Clinton and Obama, with John Edwards also a contender, and on the Republican side as well. And when you can't escape that, you're bound to get excited by it if you're breathing and upright, and certainly in New Hampshire, they are. We do have new faces in this campaign. We have larger-than-life figures. And my impression is, having traveled the country for the last 2 years, is the country really is ready to seize the political arena again. They feel that it's been taken out of their hands at the national level, and they want back in. And you're seeing a manifestation of that here in New Hampshire, and again last week in Iowa, where they had almost twice as many people participating in the caucuses as they did 4 years ago.
Tom, with so much going on, it's almost tough to digest it, let alone keep track of everything that's happened in the last 5 days. What do you think we've missed? What have the voters known on the ground in New Hampshire that we have not seen as members of the media?
Well, I think really that before this process is all over, we'll look back and say that there has been a profound realignment of the voting population in this country, Keith. No longer do the rules and the old labels apply, Republican or Democrat. We're seeing a great rising tide of independents. As you know, about 35% of the country now registered independent, a lot of them younger. A lot of the voters that are coming into the process now have grown up with the internet as their culture, and on the internet they make their own rules. They don't play by the old rules, and they bring that application to their political interests as well. So I think that may be something that everyone missed. There was a lot of talk 4 years ago about Howard Dean and how he had tapped into the internet, but in the end he was beaten by a more conventional politician using more conventional techniques, and that was John Kerry. Since then, the internet has grown exponentially. And as you know from your own roaming during the day, there are so many more political blogs out there and people generating interest in what we're all talking about here tonight.
Tom Brokaw, who we are fortunate enough to be able to say will be with us throughout the evening. Great thanks, Tom. We'll get back to you in a little bit.
Okay.
Andrea Mitchell is covering the Clinton campaign for us tonight, where it has been a day. I don't see any fireworks actually going off in that room behind you, Andrea, but I imagine symbolically they've been going on all day. Good evening.
Good evening, Keith and Chris. It really has been rough on the Clinton campaign today. They are anticipating the worst, hoping for a better outcome. They do not really have great confidence of pulling off a victory here. Top advisors were telling me we hope we can keep it in single digits. They know what's going on in terms of the generational change that Tom was just referring to. That's one reason why Barack Obama completed his campaign rallying today at Dartmouth College early this morning, trying to rally the younger people, talking about passing the torch to another generation, obviously invoking echoes of John F. Kennedy and, of course, of Martin Luther King, inspirational heroes. There's a lot of bitterness. Bill Clinton is really voicing that bitterness. Hillary Clinton seems serene. And although we saw her fatigued and somewhat emotional, she is kind of above the fray, looking towards the next races. Bill Clinton today lashed out at New Hampshire officials, saying that they did a disservice to their own voters here by scheduling this primary for so few days, so quickly after the Iowa result. It didn't give anyone a chance to absorb what happened in Iowa and to recover. Of course, it didn't give his wife, his candidate, a chance to recover from the loss in Iowa. The bounce being felt from Iowa is still reverberating here, really, Keith, and there is no time to fix that in time to avoid a loss tonight. That's at least the view from within the Clinton campaign, reflecting their own tracking.
There have been stories all day, Andrea, of nothing less than a bloodbath in terms of the hierarchy of the Clinton campaign. That's been roundly denied in terms of specifics and names that have been thrown out on other cable channels. But is the overall sense that change is coming there? If there's not a good performance from that candidate tonight, is that sense correct?
Yes, that sense is correct. I interviewed Terry McAuliffe earlier on MSNBC, and he said, yes, we want to bring more people in. We need help here. And people who have been supporting Hillary Clinton for years, decades, want to join in. That said, he personally called James Carville, and Carville told him, no, I've got too many obligations. I'm not joining. I've always been a supporter. I'll continue to advise informally, but Carville's not joining. Paul Begala is not joining. John Podesta is not joining. His name was thrown out in the New York Times story today, a former Clinton White House chief of staff. Others may come in. My sense is they're testing the microphone behind me. They're going to bring in people and layer some of the campaign officials who have been long aides of Hillary Clinton. She's not firing people right now unless they leave on their own, but they may well be bringing in new people. I think the campaign advertisements will be different, and they are clearly evaluating how much to invest in South Carolina, even whether to bypass South Carolina, where Barack Obama is so strong.
What about the possibility they're going to bypass not just South Carolina, but Nevada next week and really put all their chips on to the February 5th Super Day?
I would not rule anything out, Chris, depending on how big their defeat is tonight if they do turn out losing as they expect to do. They're clearly going to Nevada for our debate on the 15th, and they know that the culinary workers are likely to endorse Obama tomorrow. That's a big deal. Edwards has some support in Nevada among union people, but so does Hillary Clinton. They've been well organized there. But, you know, that's also a state where Bill Richardson wants to stay in until Nevada because it's a neighboring state to New Mexico, and that would drain some support, potentially, from Hillary Clinton. So they've got problems in Nevada, too, and I would not be surprised if they bypassed everything and went directly to Florida, California, and New York. But that's still beyond tonight's returns. Everything's up in the air.
The support this candidate by February 5th, or are we off this campaign theory? We'll see if that comes to pass and if it works. Andrea Mitchell at Clinton headquarters, great, thanks.